All right, to the White House now. If you're a car racing fan, you'll enjoy watching this in the next couple of minutes because the President Trump is going to have a photo op with NASCAR Indy and IMSA champions. He just walked out of the Oval Office moments ago, and we probably expect, Sandra, that he might have something to say about his 90-day pause in the imposition of reciprocal tariffs as a result of the 75 countries saying that they want to negotiate rather than go through a trade war.
Yeah, this is a celebration of Joey Logano's win, a photo op there, and certainly this is just moments after the big news hit that led to that skyrocketing Dow price up to almost 40,000 right now with an hour left in trading. I would assume we'll probably hear from the president should a microphone find him there, John.
Yeah, so the Dow has been sort of... Let's see what he says here.
Hello, everybody. Great to see you. Good to see you. I do know Rod, man. Good to see you. Thanks again for last night. That was great last night.
You had the sausages there. That was great.
Yeah, oh, the sausages, boy. Good look. They really, they were fantastic.
You were terrific.
Thank you.
You got the market seeing your brilliance.
Yeah, that's up almost 7 points. 2,500 points. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's going to be a record.
It's amazing. Yeah. You make an announcement the next thing.
It was good.
Yes, sir. Smart.
The key is we gotta get
All right, so John, you heard him
Absolutely.
just talk about the market being up 2,500 points.
How are you?
There you go.
These are nice cars. Is this the car?
Yep. Is this the car? Yep. Ryan from last year. Yeah. 23. So pretty amazing job he's done.
Pretty amazing.
Well, this is the team behind him here.
Fantastic. Nice to see you.
Great. Mr. President, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Congratulations. Thank you. We had to do it. Somebody had to do it, right? Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a very special day for a lot of reasons, actually, if you really think about it. But this is a day because Roger Penske is a great friend of mine. I've known him a long time. He received a few years ago the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest award in the country outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's sort of the civilian version of the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I watched him win his 18th Indianapolis 500. And now, I just said, did you win 19? He said, well, actually, we won 20. He won 2 more since then. So that was like 5 years ago, and he won 2 more since then. And just well-deserving. If you look, Germany, Japan, the countries, they spend billions of dollars trying to win Indy. And I guess they do it sometimes, but not much. But he's done it 20 times, fellas. So he must know something about cars and racing, and trucks, too, by the way. He knows a lot about trucks. But he's been a very special guy, and he's brought some of our outstanding racing champions with tremendous courage and guts and grit. Hello, fellas. I didn't see you guys over there. That's a good-looking couple of teams, too. They have a lot of courage. And we'll see you in a second. So we're joined by the 2023-2024 NASCAR champion, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano. That's really fantastic, fellas. That's great. To get that car going, like as an example, on average, how fast would you?
About 190.
About 190, you can have it. I don't want to go, but 190, and that's fantastic. And on a straightaway, you'll go how much?
About 190, 200.
About 190 to 200. Well, it takes a special genetic, you know that, right? It's genes. Not only it's genes, really. Most people couldn't do that. Very few people could do it. The 2023 and 2024 Indianapolis 500 winner, Joseph Newgarden. Hey, Joseph. And the 2025 champions of the 24 Hours of Daytona, Felipe Nasser, Nick Tandy, and Lawrence Vantour. This is just a celebration of racing, and it's a celebration of Roger and his great success and his life, and these incredible champions who really do what very few people could do. Mentally, psychologically, it's a big factor here, like it is in all sports, really, but you need a great physical ability. People that do this, they don't realize what great athletes they are. It's just not the car. I had a friend, he's a very successful guy, but he was a driver, and started off, he wanted to be a race car driver. He wanted to be like you. He wanted to be just like Joey Logano. and he had it for business, but he didn't have it for he said, I just couldn't compete with the good drivers. He couldn't do it no matter what he did. And he got lucky. He went into business. He made a lot of money. He was very successful. But he said, I couldn't press the accelerator down all the way, and the best drivers could. So there was just a difference. It was really I never forgot that story. But these are great champions, and it's a great sport. And what you've done in Indianapolis also with the track and everything has been incredible. I mean, it's really incredible. People tell me it's been amazing. I'll have to get there. I'm going to have to get there maybe this year with you. But
Open invitation.
well, thank you very much. Thank you. And we did Daytona. We went around the track in the Beast, what's called the Beast, with the thick windows and the whole thing. And you're not supposed to hear anything, but I heard the fans. They were going crazy outside. So it was a great honor. So I just wanted to welcome them to the White House, a special place, very, very special place. And we love champions, and these are the greatest champions in the world. These are the greatest champions in racing, and it's an honor to have you all. And thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much. I wouldn't ride in that thing if you paid me. How fast will that go?
240 plus.
240.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
A weapon.
Two-time winner of the Indianapolis 500 consecutively, right?
Yes, sir.
So what the hell are you doing? What do you eat?
A lot of milk. Drinking a lot of milk. Hopefully it
Okay, I'm going to take some. And that one is pure speed and endurance, right?
Correct, sir.
Speed and endurance. Is that car a very different car than, let's say, this one? Very different?
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Made for...
You gotta last so many hours,
Right.
and we all share the car, so three drivers.
Totally different engine.
Different engine.
Everything's different.
Everything.
And you'll go, is it 24 hours?
Yeah.
That's a long time. And that car just, there's no let up, it's just constant, right? That's fantastic. Congratulations. That's endurance. Endurance is a big factor in life and success, I can tell you, so you guys have it. Well, thank you very much. Would you like to ask Roger or any of these champions any questions while we're here?
President, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You started the morning saying be cool, and
Be
just a
cool.
few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through what you were thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents, they wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, you know, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month. And if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, you know, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. You know, it's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. And we have many other countries, as you know, many more than 75, and they all want to come, and they want to come here, or they'll go to Commerce, or they'll go to Treasury. We have our great senators here and congressmen. They'll call John, they'll do somebody, they'll go through somebody, but they're all calling, how do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that you have to, someday you have to cut the bow and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger? And that's what I did, and I'm very happy to have done it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.